Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. So I am Andy Cunningham. I am founder and managing director of GeoPura, a relatively new company, 2019 incorporated. I am actually a graduate of Nottingham University of Nottingham, I should say, engineering graduate some time ago. It's possible to survive this place. I actually retired from paid employment in 2008 with a view to investing myself in my own money in renewable energy storage research and development. And that quickly led to this area of zero emission fuels. Of course, hydrogen, best known of those at the moment, but as we've already discussed today, many other fuels that can be derived from hydrogen, green hydrogen particularly, which can have some advantages. I'm a man with problems, so I'm going to share one or two of those with you. Not all of them, but I'm going to share certainly one of them with you, and lots of reasons for excitement, but also problems. So what's GeoPura about? Well, first of all, it's about real commercial solutions. So GeoPura was set up in collaboration with Siemens Energy, not to do proof of concepts. It's not that proof of concepts are a bad thing, but we want to have niches in the market where it's possible to actually have people pay such that you can make a profit with projects based on green hydrogen. And of course, you can't do that everywhere, but there are places you can. And to that end, if we start on the right-hand side of that slide as we look at it, basically there are lots of customers out there that need renewable energy, and for whatever reason, the grid can't provide it for them. Maybe it's an off-grid application, or the grid isn't reliable enough, and they still need power. So we're supplying that with hydrogen. We're providing effectively hydrogen fuel cell fuel generators, combined with critical power systems, their UPSs, batteries involved as well, transportable to sites. Of course, that business very quickly self-destruct unless you also concentrate on the fueling of those units, because as anyone that is in the industry knows, actually getting hold of green hydrogen is exceptionally difficult. It is a living, waking nightmare, I tell you right now, even though we're installing electrolyzers as fast as we possibly can ourselves. But you have to also concentrate on the fuel supply and transportation, as well as work with other suppliers. So we are installing electrolyzers. We have live working electrolyzers in the UK today, one of which is pretty near here, near Newark, that's working at a biomass plant in Newark. So that's the scenario, basically. Electrolyzers installed as you would expect, adjacent to renewable energy generation. Transportation, yes, we're also investing in transportation as well as using partners, and generation at a customer's site where they need the power. So yeah, that's basically the first paradigm. The place where you can first, in our opinion, put real commercial solutions on the ground and people are willing to pay the right amount is replacing large-scale diesel generation. There are a great deal of industries that are reliant on this. It's a 20 billion US every year we're adding. That's new diesel generators added globally to the diesel generator estate. And that amount is going up every year. So this year it'll be 21 billion, basically. So it's going in the wrong direction. So there's a huge estate to go at here, as well as what's already installed. Millions of sites around, and it's filthy and it's really expensive, which is why it's ripe for commercial replacement now. Just quick examples. I'm going to quickly go through the good news before I get to the bad news. So these are units. So Siemens Energy is written all over this, and that's because GeoPura is a small company at the moment. It's 35 people. Yes, they've got PhDs and lots of engineering experience and lots of great stuff and a fabulous design for a generator. But the thing that makes it possible to move the dial globally, all being well, is a partner like Siemens Energy. There could have been others, but Siemens Energy that provide the global scale, the manufacturing capability, the support capability. So Siemens Energy are manufacturing these units for us. They're 250 kilowatt generators based on a 20-foot shipping container. They're mobile. As I say, they're critical power. So on the left there, that's actually BBC are a customer regularly. That particular unit was supporting one of the sites, of which they have 3, where they have our units for Winter Watch and Spring Watch and Autumn Watch, which those of you would know are live shows. totally fueled by hydrogen. Big hullabaloo about it on the BBC website. They were very excited. On the right-hand side there, that's a unit which is powering the filming of Bridgerton. Some of you might be familiar with that. That was at Cine House. That was series 2. We're also supplying power for series 3 of Bridgerton, as well as other Netflix shows, etc., etc. Film, TV, construction, they're crazy for this stuff. They want this very, very much, and they're willing to pay for it, basically. As you would expect, as other folks have said, you've got to also invest in the fuel production. We're actually using alkaline electrolyzers because it's what's available. They're not our own electrolyzers, we're installing someone else's, but we're having to install them because we're working with BOC and Air Products, and the sorts of people would expect us to be working with, they can't supply us. They don't have enough, basically, fuel. We've got to produce our own as well. And we're investing in transportation. So we have our own MEG-Cs, the bulk transportation, as well as the MCPs, which are the forkliftable units. Compressed gas, 300 bar, just compressed gas. Everyone wants it. That's the great news. Lots of great names. They all want to invest. They want to throw money at us. Fabulous. Everything fabulous. Everyone wants it. Great story. You know all about this. The only exhaust is water. No NOx, no CO2. I told you I've got problems. We're going to come on to the problems. And so this all is the good stuff. Yeah. Hydrogen in, power out, water out, bit of heat if you want it. What's not to like? Works on electric and everything. Siemens Energy, the manufacturing partner, yes, we're building these things as fast as we possibly can. They've already built one factory to build these units. We're talking about building more. The demand is so strong. Where's the problem? Where's the problem? Well, first of all, I've indicated one, just getting enough fuel. That's the immediate problem. So we've actually got to have the renewable energy and the electrolyzers and the supply chain to actually put the electrolyzers on the ground and produce the fuel, as well as getting hydrogen from other sources. So we're using biogas, basically. We're using, we'll do anything we can to get hold of hydrogen that has relatively good carbon credentials. But we've obviously got a problem because we can get so far with compressed gas, but it gets to a certain point and it's just too hard to move around. We're buying these tube trailers. They cost 250 grand or something, and you get a few hundred kilos in one, and you're pounding around the country in them. It's just not great. You can get, we're all right for the next couple of years, but we're going to need different molecules in the future. I don't have to tell you guys what the issues are with hydrogen. It's fantastic, but it's hard to get get what you need in a small enough space. And that's before we start talking about gas turbines and larger applications. So I'm putting up there customers like Microsoft and Amazon and people with data centers, and you start Balfour Beatty with huge drilling rigs and things that are multi-megawatt, 10 megawatts, 20 megawatts. That's a very small gas turbine. That's an 80 megawatt gas turbine. In gas turbine circles, that's a small gas turbine. And yet when you start looking at the amount of hydrogen it's using, 4.2 tons an hour. I mean, so that is our system on the left there. That was at a festival. That was at the Goodwood Festival Speed. We provided the power with a hydrogen tube trailer with gaseous hydrogen. Well, to supply that very small gas turbine, you'd need 8 of those tube trailers rolling up every hour. And that's a small gas turbine. They're 10 times the size of that as a standard gas turbine that you might put in a power station or something of that sort. And you just, whatever you look at, you need 3 tanks that size for a week, 3 of those, just to keep one of these gas turbines going for a week. Even when you start talking cabins, you can have 4 salt cabins, and you're going to keep a small gas turbine going for a month, basically. Gaseous hydrogen is hard. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing it. We absolutely have to be doing it and building the logistics, but we have to understand that something has to come next, basically. Here, my very good friend and colleague, Ian Wilkinson, is demonstrating a benefit of potentially ammonia. Ammonia is just one molecule. I'm not saying it's the only one we should be looking at. We ourselves are interested in a number of molecules, but it does have this advantage whereby, slightly strangely for those of you that aren't aware of it, you can get more hydrogen basically volumetrically in a certain volume of slightly compressed ammonia than you ever could in a similar volume in terms of the compressed hydrogen gas. So there you have two sorts of packages of a similar size, where you're getting 11 kilograms of hydrogen, one as gaseous compressed hydrogen, whereas you're getting 92 kilograms in a similar size of hydrogen as packed up in the ammonia, effectively using the nitrogen atom as packaging, such that it can be compressed and liquefied at very relatively low pressure. So this is what we've been involved in. So working again with our partner Siemens Energy, we have a small demonstrator. This is relatively small, but big enough to draw some conclusions. I don't think there's anything so groundbreaking here. The Harbour process is well known for producing ammonia from green hydrogen. You take nitrogen from the air. As the little graphic on the bottom there shows, it's a zero carbon approach. If you take the nitrogen from the air, you use green hydrogen, you combine the two, you create your ammonia. You ship it all of 20 meters, in this case, across the yard. Of course, it could be many, many miles, but you ship your ammonia. You can either combust the ammonia directly if you wish to, or use it directly, or you can crack it back into hydrogen. We also have an ammonia cracking project that we're working on with Siemens Energy and FFI, part of the Fortescue mining group. But to indicate the kind of savings that you get, yeah, you need about 1/16 of the transportation, 1/16 of the storage capacity that you would need if you're using ammonia, as opposed to what you would need if you were moving compressed hydrogen gas around. And it just makes some of these equations a bit more workable. Yeah, so if you take an ammonia, that is an actual anhydrous ammonia tank. It's not such an unusual thing. Of course, ammonia is not particularly pleasant. A lot of fuels aren't, but people are storing it and moving it around right now. These things just become a bit more tenable. And it's already got massive supply chain. Ammonia, of course, is an important product, just in general fertilizer, other applications. We're moving it on boats, we're moving it on railways, we're storing it, we're pretty familiar with it. So if we can use green ammonia, it certainly does offer us some potential solutions to perhaps solve some of these problems in terms of transportation and storage that we have, and makes everything just that bit more commercial. Because in the end, if we want to make a difference, if we want to move the dial globally, it's got to be commercial. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And that's really all I had to say. I just wanted to give you a very quick flavour for what's going on. I didn't want to particularly take a lot of your time, but hopefully that raises one or two thoughts, and happy to answer any questions later.